Hey folks, how you doing? This is Kurt with Manana No Mas, and today we're launching another Thursday live, 10 o'clock a.m. Central, a tech talk. So we kind of oscillate these Thursday talks between a tech talk and a like leadership or, kind of like what do you want? Personal development. You could say personal development workshop. But pardon me, this live today is going to focus on repurposing learning content. A lot of us think in terms of being a course creator or starting an online course site. You've got that guy with all the muscles talking about school and how awesome it is, or people that want to use Circle or Mighty Networks or Kajabi or Podia or all these things. And if you followed me for any length of time, you know that I was a corporate trainer for a long time. So I worked with a lot of really big, high end, custom developed SCORM type websites for corporations that really didn't perform very well. They displayed the SCORM material, but as far as being a website goes, they seem to lack a lot of things. Like, if you think about a content management system, you've got a home page, a contact page, a marketing page, landing pages, lead magnets. You've got all these things that you can do. Whereas typically, not all the time, but typically, a SCORM based training website is typically a website away from the main marketing site for a corporation that they just use for training. And because it's just used for training, it's not pretty, it's not super functional. It just plays the SCORM content and then, of course, reports back to human resources about the completion of course material. So, with that as my experience, I drove out looking for a product. I drove out looking for something that gave me the ability to up the game as far as presenting learning material. I wanted to be in the space of not just for course creators that are like, let me show you how to knit some socks from yak yarn. Like, that's not, I mean, if that exists and they want a website, I'll help them, sure. But I wanted something that was scalable all the way up to an enterprise model and could still do like a CRM or appointment scheduling, or all of these things that people want to do as a full business, not just as a segment of a business. So when people say, why did you fall in love with Lifter LMS? I fell in love with Lifter LMS because the customer service was amazing. In fact, after a few years of being a customer, I actually joined the Lifter LMS team and I run their Ask Me Anything call. I run the weekly office hours mastermind call, and I try to help as many people as I can in the Lifter LMS space become the expert that, quite honestly, I've had the privilege to become over time. And so, and then running a full service agency and all these things, it's there's a lot that kind of rebound off of each other and create this like perfect circle of relationships in this tool. But I wanted to talk about a different use of training material that a lot of people might not think about. Or if you're on the other side of the coin, you might not know is available. Like, that's the other side. So a lot of times someone will develop a learning site, and as they're developing the learning site, they're thinking about the marketing. They're thinking about what's the CRM going to do. They're thinking about design. What's it going to look like? If they've got membership tools, they're thinking, well, how do I want the discussion groups to go? And all of this is happening. This is all energy. And then when push comes to shove, they really struggle with whatever they're a subject matter expert in. They struggle with segmenting that work into an actionable curriculum. I know that that sounds crazy, but that is a common obstacle. Pardon me. It's a very common obstacle where someone has a wealth of knowledge and they really don't understand. They're the genius. They're the smarts behind the thing, but functionally they don't really understand how to break down the content. They don't understand how far back they need to go to start teaching the content, and they don't really understand the level that they can take people to. A lot of subject matter experts, for example, will come in halfway through the training, like where the training should have started. They'll come in at like halfway and they'll be like, yeah, I just want to show people that are really into this how to get from here to here. But what they don't recognize is that in order for them to start selling these courses, they're going to need to train this background information as well, right? So if you were going to teach, a certain kind of cross stitching to knit sweaters for dogs, right? But you didn't talk about different types of yarn or string or densities or anything that goes with the materials, you might lose people. If they don't have that foundational information, you might lose them if you try to come in midway and try to teach just the top tier. So a lot of people miss out on that. So when I decided to do the tech talk this week, I wanted to drive you to another idea. And in order for me to do that, I need to kind of give you a quick tour of what a standard learning management site would be like in the Lifter LMS world. So if we click here, this is one, and let me get this off the screen for you so you can actually see it. Okay, so if we take a look at this, this is a normal demo website in Lifter LMS. And so, we've got a home page here, and as you can see, we try to make it attractive. It's marketing oriented. Discover the benefits of Sparkle Zone. Do you want to go to all the courses? Do you want to see what membership tracks we have available? And then here's a couple of sample courses down here. If we want to go to all of the courses, we click on courses, and this is where we're going to see a selection of courses that would be available for someone coming to our website. So if we're selling courses, we would, the proposed student would click on that course and they would go in and see a course selling page. They would have the full syllabus to the right. They would have a pitch about the instructor, and then we would say how to get started, or pardon me, if they hadn't already purchased the course, it would come with an access plan where they could purchase the course and get access to the course. And then, of course, it's a full-fledged website, so it does all kinds of other things too. If you want to talk about regions or give them resources that they can download, or news, right? Posts. What are the latest posts that we have? So we put it as news in this sample website, but this is just posts, right? That go in order, and this is kind of how that website looks to the student. But the way that it looks on the back end for the course creator, for the business, is if we go into Lifter LMS on the back end and we look at the reporting, we're going to see that there's full reporting. It shows us all of the students, right? So these are all of the students, what progress they've been able to make, any grades that they've earned through taking the courses, how many enrollments they have. But that's not just all. We could go into each student, or we could take a look at the courses. Right? So we could click on a student and see, well, how many courses are they, and go into each course. Or we could go to courses and we could say, well, look at this. We've got 5 students here. Jane's the instructor. Let's take a look at what detailing techniques and vehicle care looks like. And so we can say, well, the average progress is 17%. We've got 5 students. What students are in there? We click that, we take a look at the students. All of this is exportable, by the way. You can export this whole thing as a CSV file and sort it. But if you like to look at things visually, it's right here in the website for you. So here's a list of our students. Here we can see that Cade is the hero at 85, 86%. And Margarita, wow, she's killing it. Margarita's got 100% done, right? And then we can take a look at different things. Now we can track sales. We can look at the quizzes people have put in. We can look at enrollments, assignments. We can do all that kind of thing. So all of that is in there. And so one of the things I wanted to address is if we go to courses, and I'm going to go to courses here in my list. There we go, courses. And we really get out of the box and think about this. If we look at this, look at what we see. Medical educator, right? Builder, edit, quick edit, trash, view, new cohort, clone, or export. So I can export this class. It creates a JSON file. And when I export that class, I'll be honest with you, when I was exporting all of my classes before, because I have a ton of courses that are made, when I was exporting my courses before, I was exporting them as backups. So I would create a course on the website and I would export it as a JSON file and I would save it as a backup in a folder somewhere. Well, as I grew and developed my agency and my business and some of the other verticals that I cover, I've written and published a couple of books. I have a power sports training company. I have a public speaking vertical that I try to fill. I have a leadership training vertical that I try to fill. And so I had courses in Manana no Mas, and then I thought, well, why don't I just take a couple of these courses that are like leadership centered and put them over on the book's website? And so export, import, boom. As soon as you import them, the full course and all of the access plan settings come with it. And so if I was selling it for $100 on one website, when I load it up to the next website, it comes in with all the settings and it's for sale for $100 on that website too. But once you import the course, you can change any of those settings. I can change the featured image, I can change chapters, I can move things around, I can change the pricing, I can change all kinds of things. I can attach them to lead magnets and all kinds of stuff. So then it occurred to me, and I don't know why it took so long to occur to me, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to this page and I'm going to share this tab instead. And let me go to, there we go, pre-formatted courses. All right, so that's going to go to a page in my website. And let's go back and do the shared screen again. Now, I want to make this a little bit bigger for you so you can see what's going on. It occurred to me, if I can build all these courses and have these courses available within my website, and I can export those courses, and then I can import those courses to other Lifter LMS powered websites, then wouldn't it stand to reason that I could export those courses and create a directory of courses available for other people to use on their websites? That occurred to me, and I don't know why it didn't before. I mean, it may have, but like I didn't think about it as a viable sales engine to create revenue. And as the shape of Manana no Mas is beginning to morph and change a little bit, we're beginning to do more with helping other people find success within agency work rather than us focusing so hard on our own agency work. We have found that a lot of people get into agency space almost by accident, and they don't really have a process or a sense of confidence or content or material or, for instance, just a for instance, a customer comes to Manana no Mas and they say, I'm interested in a membership website. I take them to a sample membership website that I own. Someone says, I want to have a course marketplace, but I don't know what that would look like. I go, no problem. I have a course marketplace sample website. Let me show you what that looks like. Let me show you how that works. Let me give you access to that so you can play with it and see how it works. Someone says, I want to be a coach or a consultant. No problem. I got a sample coach or consultant website. Let me give you access to that so you can see the tools we've put in place and how it works. I got a food truck. Great. We got a food truck sample website. We'll put you into that, let you see if you like it, see how it works. If it works for you, we have a package, an affordable package, and we can make that package available to you, and you can customize it and do with it what you like. You see, there's certain power in growing your agency when you have access to tools and things that work. So let's say you're an agency and you haven't done any LMS work, you haven't done any e-learning work, but we see everywhere, according to, the muscle guy with school, he says, it's a billion dollar industry and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And it's only growing. And if you want to get your piece of the pie, you got to get into the e-learning space, but you're an agency and you're not really into making courses. What are you going to do? Well, you could come to a directory like mine and you could buy some courses. So here's a directory. I got a 5-day course on healthy success, bulletproof keto, behavioral based goals, capitalize on opportunity, goal 365. This is a year-long course, by the way. The goal 365 course is crazy. If you're looking for like long form, great content where it takes a whole year to do a course, goal 365 is like, talk about amazing. And then I believe is like all about getting over self-doubt, right? And so I've put these all in here as packages. I didn't care how long they were, how short they were. I didn't care about any of that. What I wanted to say was, hey, you need a course, you need content for your website. We've got content for you. You can come to Manana no Mas, you can purchase it. You're going to download a JSON file. You're going to import that JSON file directly to your website, and it's going to work, right? If I were to talk about this in any other way, I'm not sure how I would make it more clear. Now, here's the other thing that we're doing. Let's just bring this out. So I had these courses and I thought, well, I sell them on Manana no Mas. Like if someone wants to take the 5 days to healthy success, I think it's $24.95. They take that and they join the course and they get some coaching and all that's awesome, right? So that's us as course creators giving the course. But what if you have your own website and you're like, I want to sell a course on 5 days to healthy success? Like I think that product would work well in my vertical. So you don't have to create the whole course. You come to Manana no Mas, you buy the package for $149, you export it, right? Because we're going to send you the file. So you make the purchase, we send you the file, boom, you import it to your website, and lickety split, within minutes, you've got 5 days to healthy success in your website. And then you can sell it for whatever you want, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, 80 bucks, 90 bucks. I don't care. You sell whatever the appetite is for your people, you sell it. Now, we're not going to stop there. Over the years, I have accrued literally hundreds of course material foundational pieces, meaning I have literally in my external hard drive here, literally hundreds of courses built in PowerPoint or long form or video or slides or images or thumbnails or email messages. I have all of this stuff. And so what we're doing is we're taking a look at those hundreds of courses and we are saying, okay, because they're not really courses. They're not formatted for Lifter LMS. They're not online yet. We just have all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. As an agency, let's take some of these really good titles and let's start to convert these into Lifter LMS compatible formats. And then load them up, export them as JSON files, create them as products, add them to our directory, and they're available for sale. Now, here's where I wanted to talk to you today in the Tech Talk thing. Like if you're looking to buy courses, obviously come to me. Let me know what your topics are. I might have the content. If I have the content, we'll develop it into a course for you. Boom, and you've got it, right? So that's one thing. But the other thing is this. Let's say that you are a course creator and you built a really cool course, but your strength isn't really in membership. You found that your strength is in developing the content. You found that you like to create and you have a strength for sharing a message or a mission, but you're not really great at the marketing. Newsflash, there's a ton of people out there that are great at marketing and building community and getting energy into a project, but suck at making content. That's what I was talking about at the very beginning of the call. So for someone that sucks at making the content, if they're smart enough to recognize their own gaps, if they're smart enough to recognize their own, weakness in the big circle of life, they're going to recognize I got to bring somebody in to help with content. But what if you're great at making content and you've been running your site and you've got your site up and you're trying to sell courses, you're trying to sell into a community, but it's just not working. For some reason, your marketing's off. For some reason, you're not getting the traffic you think you need to have. For some reason. But what about this? What if you morphed your project and you became someone that supplied the content to other course creators? Well, that changes the whole world, doesn't it? It changes the whole perspective. Let me make this more personal for you. When I was young, I tried car sales. I was in the automotive business for about 20 years and I was incredibly successful at it. But my success turned out to not be in sales. So I tried sales. And for a little while, I was actually really good at it. I worked at a Chevy Honda store in Boulder, Colorado. And, every morning we would have these meetings. Who had the most ups? I did. Who had the most phone calls received? I did. Who had the most customers come in for appointments? I did. Who had the most Foursquares written up? I did. Who had the most units go out this month? Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But I followed the processes. And I realized that I was more of a process-driven person than I was a sales-driven person. And to be honest with you, I just didn't have enough manipulation in me to work in car sales. Like there were times where someone would say, oh, I'm not really sure if this is for me or not. And instead of saying, well, I'm here to tell you you'd look great in that car, I would say, well, if you've got any doubts, the best thing to do is think about it and let me know when you're ready, which is great advice, but it doesn't sell cars, right? So what I found was when I got into the service side of the automotive industry, I did extremely well. I was able to give people what they needed. I was able to make revenue. I was able to increase efficiencies and productivities within the department. I became a fixed operations expert over the years. And now I have a full business in the power sports world, training dealerships how to increase their parts and labor sales because I know that that's where my sweet spot is. I know that that's where I belong. And that's what happens to some people when they get caught up in this e-learning space. We all get told that, everyone's got a course inside of us and everyone should be able to sell a course and everyone should be able to build a community. And we hear that and we think we believe it and we take action. And then 6 months, 9 months, 12 months later, we have a project that we're willing to give up on because it hasn't created the revenue that we foresaw for the project. Maybe it just wasn't for you, right? So some people shut off the website. But I would counter to you. What if you pivot? What if you pivot and you download your course as a JSON file, create it as a product that you can sell, and then say, here's the course if you want to subscribe to it and take it with us in our community. But if you'd like to put this course on your own website, you can buy this course for 5 times as much. And then you can sell it and you can do whatever you want with it. But now you've become a product person and not a membership person. And to some people, that is the world of difference. Like I said earlier, I could sell. I was great at customer relationships and I liked being in the car business. But my sweet spot wasn't the sales floor. My sweet spot was on the service side. So I was more on the service side than the product side, if that makes sense. In many ways, it's the same for me running my agency. I am really, really good on the agency side at maintaining relationships, making customers feel good, being flexible with, different tasks and times, and just trying to work really well with the client. And there are some things as an agency that I kind of steer away from. And I let other agencies pick up that stuff that's not my sweet spot. Sometimes I'll even bring other agencies in. I'll just tell the customer, hey, that's not a perfect fit for Manana No Mas, but this part of your project fits us really well. Let's bring in another agency to take over this part and we'll work on this part. And we do that a lot. We do that a lot. But that's where in business, knowing your strength and your weakness and not being afraid to address your weakness and not trying to hide your weakness, but almost amplify it and say, I recognize that this is a gap with my company, but I have a system, I have a process that overcomes that gap. So this is where I'm going today. From a tech perspective, you can use Lifter LMS, which to me is the best trading platform on the internet, period. It does memberships, it can handle revenue, it carries the learning content, and it integrates with a ton of other tools so that if I want to have a customer resource management tool, a scheduling tool, a community tool, it'll connect to all those things and I can make that happen. So that is to me powerhouse. So there's that. So the tech talk part of today is if you want to be, whether it's corporate, whether it's enterprise level corporate work, or you're knitting sweaters for dogs, if you want to make a course, there's a way to do that and do it with Lifter LMS and find success. That's like core part of the message. The other part of the message that I really wanted to hit as a specific in today's tech talk was even if you can't build giant communities and thousands of students and generate tons of revenue through enrollments, if you like to create the learning material, you still have an avenue to sell the learning material, but sell it as a product instead of a class or a subscription. And I've just shown you how I do that. Now, if you've watched all this and you go, that's a really great idea, but I really don't know what Kurt's talking about or how I would do that myself. If you want to reach out to us, or if you want to say, hey, show us how to build this course directory or any of that stuff, Manana Nomas is here to help. Just reach out, give us a shout. You can go to manananomas.com and you can click on book a call. You can book a call, get me on the horn, and we'll work with you. If you just need pointed in the right direction, I'll say go in this direction. Have a good day. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, go in this direction. Have a nice day. If you're someone that's like, I never really wanted to be a webmaster, I have these products, I have these ideas, I have this knowledge base, and I want to move in this direction, but I don't want to be a webmaster. I want to hire someone to do it. Manana Nomas is your source. We are the experts in Lifter LMS, in learning content, in marketing learning content, and in getting things out. So if this all makes sense to you, give us a shout. Like I said, book a call. Normally, I say, hey, let's go to the comments and let's see what kind of questions we have today. But I'm not seeing any comments yet. But I am seeing a ton of people coming in today for the live, which is kind of cool because last week I didn't send a message about the live, but I held it anyway. And I wanted to see if we got emails about, hey, I missed your message, or I missed the call, or I missed the whatever. Can I see the replay? And that happened. So my test last week worked. I know that the marketing we've been doing for the last 3 months is taking hold. And I know that we have some momentum, which is great. Also, our mail list has reduced in size. And some people would say, oh my goodness, he's failing. People are unsubscribing. If people don't want the messages, you want them to unsubscribe. That's a good thing. You want your list lean. So looking at my list, even though it's lean, our open rate this week was almost 60%. And so when you have a curated mail list and you're getting a consistent open rate of over 50%, and you start cresting near 60% for your open rate, and your click-through rate is starting to climb into double digits, you have hit the messaging correct. And so it's taken us a lot of work. It's taken us a lot of time. It's taken a lot of effort. To be honest with you, it's taken a lot of effort, a lot of thought. But we are finally honing in on who is our audience, what are our products, how do we assist people the most. And we kind of got a little bit of a split. And this is where I'd like to hear from you. If you get a chance, even if you're watching the replay, we've done a series of talks. We do a couple of tech talks. We do a leadership talk. We do a couple of tech talks. We do a leadership talk. And I'll be honest, when I do the leadership talks, I get more comments. When I do the tech talks, I don't get so many comments. But I feel like when I'm showing people how to do things on the internet, how to use WordPress, how to use a new plugin, how to use a new tool, how to be more efficient, I feel like that message is more appreciated, but maybe it's not a comment because it doesn't have an emotion or a feeling with it. Like leadership stuff generally has a feeling come up somewhere. So if you would, in the comments, let me know if you like the mix of tech talk and leadership stuff. If you think we should increase the tech talk and cut down on the leadership stuff, that's one way. Or should we do more leadership and less tech stuff? I enjoy the tech. I'm totally sold out to leadership and development. I mean, obviously, I put out a book in 2022 called Action Leadership from the Edge. It's published, it's out there. You can get it on Amazon. Obviously, if I sat down and wrote a whole book about it, it's something I'm passionate about. But I want to make sure that we're adding value in a way that is proportionate to the people that are paying attention. So if you'd like to see more tech, send a message or a comment that says more tech. If you want to see more leadership, send a message or a comment that says more leadership. And with that, folks, I'm going to let you go today. We're just about a half hour into our deal. I know you've got a whole day in front of you. I've got a whole day in front of me. I'm going to be on the WP Tonic podcast. I'm going to be leading the Lifter LMS Ask Me Anything call, and I'm going to be leading the Lifter LMS Office Hours Mastermind call yet today, plus all the agency stuff that we've got to do. So I hope that you have a wonderful day. Again, I'm not seeing comments now, so put them in if you watch the replay, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.